Hello friends, I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark, and Happy New Year! We made it to another one. This is the first video of the year, hopefully many more to come, because nobody can stop me. And we're going to be starting this year off with a tier list for the characters of Killer Instinct. Now, full disclaimer, this is 100% my opinion and totally based off of the one time I played through each of the characters on the difficulty of 4 stars. This is purely based off of my experience and my experience only. I am not a professional by any means. I wouldn't even call myself a connoisseur of fighting games. I just really like this game, remembering it from my childhood. So I thought it'd be fun to go through it after I went through all the characters and give my opinion on how easy it was to essentially play each of the characters for the first time. So if you want to see me make a fool of myself, you can go and watch all of those videos, me playing each of the characters through the tournament. Drop a like and subscribe while you're there, and we're going to get into this tier list. Starting off with the introduction of the tiers, we have easy to learn. So in my opinion, these are characters that are easy to learn, not necessarily characters where if you are looking to play against a decent player that you'll be able to beat them, but they are easy enough to actually get you into the game and feel like you're doing something. The tier below that, we have take some time and do some damage. These characters aren't going to be the easiest to learn as far as their moveset goes, or their combo breakers, or doing combos in general. But if you take some time with the characters and actually learn their moveset and learn what works and what doesn't, these are characters that I feel like better players would main, would be good stepping stones for players to get into harder hitting characters or characters that are harder to play. What I'm trying to say is, if you spend time with these characters, they will find the time to love you back. And finally, we have It's Probably Me. Now, this means that for whatever reason, it's probably my fault that I'm not getting the full potential of this character's moveset, or I'm doing something wrong in the sense of not getting the character to their full potential, whether it's getting their combos or executing moves that I have seen the CPU do during the tournament. And I'm not just talking about the ultra combos, because that would be every character except Fulgore, but that's beside the point. The point is, either I'm missing something or they are actually harder to learn than the other characters, and in my opinion, I would stray away from them. So let's get into ranking these characters, starting with Thunder in this arbitrary order. Now, Thunder stumped me. If you watched all of the videos, I had to stop and come back to him, play him again, because I just wasn't having a good time. So what got me into the tournament ultimately was Riptor, and then I figured, oh, okay, I'm going to do this for every other character. Thunder happened to be the second character that I did this with, so it might be a little bit of having never played another character before, and he is literally the first of the other characters that I played as, and that lack of experience could have come into play when I was trying to play as him. So he kind of stumped me, but ultimately it took 37 continues with Thunder when I finally went through the tournament. And as I played as him throughout the tournament, I found that his moveset was kind of very close range, except for his Phoenix Fireball. You had to be right up into the opponent's face. He was a very heavy hitter, and that's just kind of what I gathered when playing through as him. His combos were also not easy to execute. He had that spinning axe move that kind of closed a little bit of the distance and could start a combo, an easy enough combo for me to do, but ultimately I don't feel like he was that easy. However, because of how few continues relative to Riptor, and we'll get to that, it took me to play as Thunder to get through, if that even made any sense, I'm going to put him in the, if you take some time, he will do some damage. Okay, and next we have Cinder. Cinder took me 33 continues, so less than Thunder. And I stated in the video something along the lines of that his combos were not easy to learn, but I felt like he did have decent range because of his charge move, where he like turns into a fireball and he can close the distance, and his Inferno move, which covered like maybe a half the screen, but it kept the opponent at bay and away from you. And because of all that, I feel like he was kind of weak as far as his moves went. So that kind of made combos necessary. You had to string moves together because by themselves they weren't all that heavy hitting. So you have to learn combos to do any kind of damage with this character. And on top of that, his combo breaker wasn't easy to do as far as the moveset list that I have from my source. And sometimes those combo breakers can be the make or break difference when you're fighting somebody. Also, kind of on a side note, some other characters can teleport, or as we'll get to Glacius here, you can melt into the floor and come back up on the other side. Cinder can turn invisible, and I don't know if that's really helpful. For the computer, for the CPU, I can understand how that would be a detrimental to a human opponent, but otherwise you just lose track of your own character, which is kind of weird. You do get a little shadow of where he is, and if that's the only visual cue that you and your opponent get, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird mechanic that I noticed, and for a human player, I don't feel like it's all that necessary. Ultimately, I am going to put him in Take Some Time and do some damage because his moveset was fairly easy to learn in the beginning, and his combos weren't hard to execute. But there are things beyond those initial steps of playing as Cinder where you can become a better Cinder player. And I just made this up right now, but I think what I'm going to do, if I can... Yes. So, the more left the character is, I'm going to rank them as higher. So, like right now how I have Thunder to the left of Cinder, I'm going to say Thunder is a better character than Cinder. Fulgor. Fulgor, I had 33 continues, and he's the only one, he's the only one that I actually got an ultra combo with, even by accident, which was sweet. It was a cool feeling that I had. I stated in the video that I like his moveset, and I still stick by that. I also said that his moveset makes you feel like you're playing him as intended. So I guess by that I mean it's easy to learn and combos are easy to string together. He can teleport, which I wasn't really able to figure out how to control it. I don't know if you hold the direction more longer that you'll go further, or if there's another button you have to press to show up on the other side of the character, or show up close to the character but behind them. I don't know. I didn't figure that part out, but I did find that he had great range with his charge move, his charging laser fist thing, and his fireball. And on top of that, he is a decent hitter, but he does not have an easy combo breaker to execute. But I really don't think that that's going to be too much of a problem for new players because of how easy his moveset is. With that, and probably for a decent reason, Fulgor is going to go into easy to learn. The decent reason being why he's at the top of the Killer Instinct tournament. He is the boss before the boss. If you're not on a hard enough difficulty, he will be your final fight. And he is always your final fight before Idol. And next, we have Glacius. Glacius, of the original 10 characters, is actually the one that took me the least amount of continues at 26. I said in my video that I don't feel he is a combo type player and that he is a heavy hitter. So with that, his range isn't all that good. He has a decent charge move, and he does have his fireball. It states fireball as far as my source in the move list goes, but it bounces along the ground or whatever, and it's easy to dodge by jumping over it or teleporting through it or something or another. Like, it's easily avoidable. So you're not really playing with range as Glacius. And also because of that, he's also really slow, so you're really going to want to be up in their face, up in your opponent's face. He's kind of tanky. I'm not saying that he can take a lot of damage or not a lot of things affect him, but tanky in the sense of that he's slow and heavy hitting. His combo breaker is easy enough to execute if you do get into trouble. And likewise, because he isn't really a combo stringing together type character, or just because it took the least amount of continues with Glacius, I'm not going to say that he's the easiest to learn. Right now I'm saying that Fulgor is easier to learn than Glacius. I feel like a better player of another character would easily crush anybody that just picked up Glacius. And I also don't feel that Glacius is going to would be a main character to play as if you were a decent enough player. I just don't think he's fast enough, has a great range as far as his moveset goes. But again, that's just my opinion, and I'm stupid, so take it with a large pile of salt. Speaking of me being stupid and bad at this game, we have Jago next, who I have at 32 continues. Now, there was kind of a blunder on my part when I was playing through as Jago, where I accidentally closed the game, and that just took the wind right out of my sails, more so than the game normally does. And I was just kind of over it. I played as Jago like 1.5 times going through the tournament, and I felt like I struggled through it. According to my source, he has a short moveset to work with. He's a weak hitter, which makes combos necessary. I feel like he's the fastest character in the game. I don't know if there's like some metadata that somebody went through and found stats of the characters as far as how hard they can hit or how fast they move. But in my opinion, he's got to be the fastest in the game. His flying kick move closes the distance, and his fireball is pretty decent at hitting hitting your opponent from a range. But his combo breaker is not easy to execute, so I would try to avoid confrontation as much as possible, I guess, if that's an option. While he didn't take me the most continues as far as going through the tournament once, I'm going to go with it's probably me here with Jag. Yeah, you can button mash and feel like you're doing something with him, but ultimately I feel like to play him as intended, he's just not a character for a first-time player or somebody I would recommend to a new player. And appropriately enough, it's followed up by his sister, who I guess I accidentally cut the head off, and I accidentally cut the head off of a couple of these people. Wow, I think I could have cropped these better. Anyway, we have Orchid. If you couldn't tell, this is Orchid. 94 continues. This was the most continues I've had of a player. I don't know why I struggled so bad, but I do remember having a bad... I did find a warning before playing as Orchid that she does need to be very combo heavy. She does have a large moveset, according to my source, to execute a lot of combos. And those just need to be a requirement because she is a super soft hitter. One little move or hit or one little baton, little fireball thing, whatever she flings at you, isn't going to be stopping any other character anytime soon, and you really need to know how to execute her combo. With that said, she does have an excellent range and an easy combo breaker. However, because it took 94 continues with Orchid, which I think is over double anyone else, I have to put her in It's Probably Me. And for the sake of keeping this in the correct order, I'm still going to put Jago as it's more of a problem, or he's more problematic, harder to learn, or whatever, than Orchid is. And deeply, we have Saberwolf. 42 continues. I talked a lot of trash about Saberwolf throughout the tournament. But I did come to find out that he does have a great range with many moves to close the distance. He can pounce, he can roll, he has his flying bat move, he has a pretty decent range, he can close the distance, and his combos come easy to execute. I kind of had fun playing as Saberwolf. I didn't feel like I was slogging through anything. But he kind of felt like a weak... Actually, in my notes I have, not a heavy hitter, not a weak hitter. He's an easy combo breaker. So with the combination of kind of being middle of the road as far as how powerful his hits are, being able to close the distance, I'm going to put him in, take some time, and do some damage. And I'm actually going to be putting him in front of Cinder. Yeah, I like that. I feel like Thunder, if you took the time to learn Thunder, would be a better character overall than Saberwolf, who I feel like would be a better character than Cinder. That is how that order is going. Next, I'm not even going to spend a whole lot of time on this. It took me 7 continues, and that 7 included 2 mess-ups on my part because you have to put in a cheat code to get this literal cheat code. He's super spammy. He has an easy combo breaker. There's no reason why, if you are on the same level as another human player and you're playing as Idol and they're playing as any other character, 10 out of 10 times you should be able to win with Idol. He's super easy to learn. It's not even fair. Of course, he has to go as the easiest to learn. That is what the leftmost character in easy to learn is going to be. But because he is a literal cheat code, and you have to get that cheat code by beating the tournament on 6 stars with any character to get that code, and then you have to select Cinder and then input the code. Yeah, he doesn't really count as one of the main 10, but I did play through the tournament as him, so I'm going to put him in the tier list, but put a huge asterisk on his character because, I mean, he's Idol. He is the boss. And next we have Spinal, who has also lost his head. Spinal took 28 continues. He was the 3rd least, if that makes sense. Took me the 3rd least amount of continues. 26 was Glacius, 27 was Riptor, 28 was Spinal. There, I don't know, that's as clear as I can make it, and whatever. I felt like he had a unique moveset, especially with needing to charge his projectiles. I think that's really cool. Instead of just normally blocking a projectile or like a charge move from your opponent, you use that momentum or energy or whatever to be able to shoot your own projectiles. With that, he can also teleport. Kind of goes without saying, being able to teleport, that he has great range. That little sliding kick that he does, where he just slithers along the ground, that I found super fun. Does a lot of power behind it. He's super elusive, so I feel like a better player would be really hard to hit. Arguably could be the 3rd fastest character if you want to say that Jago's the fastest, followed by Orchid, because they're kind of the same as far as their moveset goes and how they play. I think Spinal would be the 3rd quickest character. So with his easy combo breaker, or easy to execute combo breaker, and his moveset, Really, the only nerfing that he has is being able to, or having to, charge his projectile. I mean, he's super easy to learn. I'm going to actually put him above Fulgore just because it took me less continues with Spinal than it did Fulgore. Combo 56 continues, and kind of ironically, I feel like he's on the weaker side of hitters. Maybe the third weakest, in my opinion. It's just ironic because he's a boxer and he has Fulgore-like arms. But he does have great range, and he does have some easy combos and an easy combo breaker. So with that, I'm going to actually put him in easy to learn just because all those movesets are easy to do. Maybe you're not getting the full extent of how to play as combo, but he is easy to pick up and play as. And I'm actually going to put him in front of Glacius. I don't think he's easier to learn than Fulgore or Spinal, but easier to learn how to play as than Glacius. Like I said, even though he is on the weaker side, I feel like he would be a good stepping stone to getting into a not necessarily higher tier player, but get you into the basics of how to play. And finally, we have my girl, Riptor. 27 continues, the second fewest of all the characters, which is kind of surprising, and in my opinion, it might be a combination of one of two things why Riptor took this second fewest and not the fewest. So I was familiar with Riptor. It's who I expected to be the best with, but she was the first character to go through the tournament. Even though in the video I stated that I played as her twice, the video is actually the second time that I'm playing through the tournament as her, because I thought the video quality was worse than it normally is, so I just thought to do it again. I was still in the phases of learning how to play Killer Instinct again, having not played it for like 15 years. And perhaps the reason why Glacius took less was because it was later down the line. I've played a few other characters. I understood the basics and was getting the mechanics down. And he's in the easy to learn category for a reason. So, with the combination of being easy to learn and having kind of knocked the rust off of the gears and everything with the mechanics of Killer Instinct and all that, I feel like that contributed to Glacius having fewer continues. Now, I could revisit Riptor and see if I can beat my initial 26 and thus not only tie but beat the fewest continues of 26 with Glacius. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But with that, I'm not saying I got the fullest potential out of Riptor. Yeah, I'm saying that. Thus, I'm going to put her in take some time and do some damage. She is literally the character that I have spent the most time with, playing as, and feel the most comfortable with. I like her moveset. That's kind of the reason why I think I gravitated towards her. She has really great range with her charging move and her fireball moves. And her combo breaker is easy enough to execute and essential to get through the tournament. And it's super convenient that the combination of buttons that it takes to execute her combo breaker is also one of my go-to moves when I'm playing as Riptor. So oftentimes those two things correlate, and then obviously the game just kind of picks the situation whether I'm going to execute that move or a combo breaker depending on what I'm stuck in or whatever the situation is. So in that sense, the computer is doing the work for me, but it's nice that those two things correlate. She isn't the easiest to execute combos with, thus kind of making a little bit on the heavier side of hitters. But with that, I also feel like she is a faster character than most. I'm not going to say that she's the 4th fastest behind Jago, Orchid, and Combo. Is Combo the one I said was the 3rd fastest? Regardless, I don't think she's the 4th fastest. I feel like she is faster than most of the characters, which works great with her charge move and being able to close the distance. So, I think that Riptor best suits my play style and how I like to play a character or what have you. Do I feel like I'm getting the most out of her when I play her? No, I'm not a professional. Do I feel like her ceiling is higher than Thunder's ceiling? Do I feel like it's higher than Saber's ceiling? Do I feel like it's higher than Cinder's? I don't know. It might be a little bit of bias. I'm not going to say that if you want to learn a character and you pick Riptor that she's going to be the best, but I'm going to put her just below Thunder. And again, that's probably my bias. I feel like if I put as much time into Thunder as I did Riptor, I think I would be a better Thunder player than I would be Riptor player. But I like playing as Riptor more, so that's what I'm going to do. So, that's my tier list from easy to learn, take some time, do some damage, and it's probably me. It's a little bit of a different video, but I feel like it kind of puts a nice bow on the Killer Instinct tournament as a whole. I'm not sure exactly what else I could do except go back and beat the number of continues it took me for each character, but that sounds grueling. You know what? I think I will go back and see if I can beat the number of continues that it took me to play as Riptor. On 4 stars, of course. And maybe I will try is the key word there, to play through the tournament on 6 stars as Riptor to, quote-unquote, legitimately get Idol's cheat code. But that sounds like a problem for my future self. Not going to be doing it today. If you enjoyed, again, please like and subscribe. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back and watch the videos. That would be tremendous. I would love it. And I know you would love it too. And if you subscribe, Riptor will love you too. If you made it this far, I can't thank you enough for watching. I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark. Peace.